What is up, fellow car enthusiasts of the internet? Today, we're doing more M3 track prep. M3 next to me. Guess what's arrived? Seat number 2. So today we're going to install the passenger seat. Should be much of the same as the first one with a few caveats. Hopefully we can get it installed, get everything good to go. I got a scale, so I'm going to attempt to weigh this seat. In the last videos we weighed the stock seat, so we can kind of get an idea of exactly how much weight we've dropped from switching the seat. That wasn't really the point. The point is to get me lower and then in turn replacing the passenger to meet tech inspection requirements. So this seat will go in, but maybe we'll get something cool out of the deal and save a little weight, get a little bit more pep out of the car, and lower weight's always better, right? See if we can get it done. Get it done. So as you can see, seat number 2 is identical to seat number 1. We have the same exact brackets. I actually bought them as a pair when I first got the other seat, but same exact brackets. Side panels are aluminum, floor mount is steel, all the same hardware, and should be a very similar process, but like I said, there'll be a couple things I'll point out along the way that you will have to look out for on the passenger side. Let's get in the car. Actually, first we got to take the old like 80-pound seat out and get this guy in. Let's do it. Alright, before you actually take the seat out, there's a couple things underneath the seat you need to unplug. One of which is the seat occupancy sensor module. So the seat basically knows when somebody is sitting in it. There's a module underneath that is plugged in. You don't want to pull it out and rip or damage the cord. The other one thing is if you have heated seats, unplug the heated seat thing. These are not heated seats, even though they're heated seat plugs. But I do need to unplug the airbag module. Oh God. I mentioned it's heavy. It's freaking heavy. Okay, quick note, these are side mount brackets, so they can mount, you know, basically through the side of the seat here. These seats are, you have to buy a side mount seat if you want to use side mount brackets. This seat is actually dual purpose. You can mount it through the bottom or through the sides. I don't know if you can see this or kind of make out that little nub, but basically like if you want to use these side mount brackets, you have to trim the fabric around so you can actually expose these bolts. If not, mount straight to some sliders or something. We're trying to get as much head clearance as possible like the other seat. So we are going to trim this fabric and expose the side mount bolts. There's much more elegant ways to accomplish this. We're gonna use a razor blade, put some gloves on, make sure you don't cut your fingers off. But we are going to cut basically the material around this bolt. And expose said bolt. There's one, you can see it's got a washer on it. Alright, so we're going to put the brackets on. We're going to use this nice, fresh, new hardware provided by Massive with the kit. Nice and clean. We're basically going to match the other side. So this bolt and washer goes through the bottom. This guy I'll put through the second from the top. This allows me to get a nice flat, the side of underneath this padding, it's very flat on the side of the seat. It allows me to get a very square fitment and almost to the bottom here. Still enough room basically to fit the bracket underneath it. But close enough to the floor to get some clearance. Tighten this guy down. Don't quote me on any torque setting. So look that up for your seat. In your car, safety's cool, yo. Safety's cool. All right, here's the wire bundle I was talking about earlier. Your airbag or seat occupancy sensor module. The one trick to this is this thing is not going to be happy not having a seat occupancy sensor plugged into it. If you're okay with the airbag light being on, that's great. If you live in a state where they require yearly safety inspections, probably not going to pass. So they sell basically, you can either get a seat with an occupancy sensor and wire it in to work with this, or they sell a thing that basically tells the computer that somebody's in the seat at all times. So the airbag's there if somebody's in the seat. If not, then the airbag still goes off, and you basically, if you wreck the car, you basically blow up 2 airbags instead of 1, which can be costly. This car is probably going to eventually get harnesses, but this is here. So for the next couple years, until it passes the antique level, I'm going to have to run with that little module thing plugged in. Okay, so the brackets are in. Something to remember. The belt here is supposed to go through the side hole of the seat. So before you put the seat in, if you're sitting far back as I am, there's a Torx bolt here that has to come out to like free this side, put it through the seat, put it back in. I made that mistake on that side. I put the whole seat in and never put this through, and couldn't get this freaking Torx bolt out. Basically this slides off, slide it back through the seat, connect it on. All right, moment of truth. Let's see how much this sucker weighs. Again, I kind of do the same thing I did with the other seat, kind of support it a little bit. 34 pounds. The other one was like 64 pounds, I think. So probably 60 pounds or so of savings. Not too bad, just for swapping some seats. Swapping some seats. All right, I won't bore you with the next part. The next part is basically putting the 4 bolts through the bottom part into the steel brackets. Mount the seat up. Should be good to go. This is through. When this is sitting back in the proper place, it'll look good. And then we're basically done. Turn the car on, make sure we don't have any airbag lights. Time to go racing. Oh yeah. All right, my friends, seat number 2 is in. As you can see, what should have been an extra hour or so of me just installing bolts while I wasn't filming turned into a few hours of me looking for a socket that I could not find. So always put your tools back, otherwise things take much longer than they should. I ended up I couldn't find it. I did find a lot of very large spiders in my garage, which I was not aware we're making a home here, but I guess they need a place to live too. So anyway, today, passenger seat is done. Go ahead and take care of that. Making pretty short work of this list. Just gotta flush the coolant, register for the event. I did get a new helmet in. So I have like an official, it's an SA 2010, 2010. So it's the last, the 2015 like just came out, the, whatever they call it, certification for this year. So if you're a racer, you have to have the brand new ones. Most of the track days will accept the last few. So 2010 should last me for probably another 5 years at least. I don't know however often you're supposed to replace your helmet anyway. So they're a good price right now because the 2015 just came out, and I'd like to have eventually a helmet that could support a Hans device or whatever else, depending on how official we start getting with this track day racing stuff. So, flush the coolant. Get to it next week. Bye bye.